Welcome to this interview by Project Cargo Weekly, and our special guest of honor today is Mr. Alain Akavi, the Managing Director of Coli Shipping and Transport in Bremen, Germany. First of all, Alain, very welcome to this interview.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here. As you may know and probably have seen in my previous interviews, I always start off in the traditional way by asking the interviewee about their background. So without elaborating further on that, could you tell our viewers a little bit about your own shipping background leading up to your position as the MD for Coli in Bremen, please?
So basically, I've started my career actually in a different sector. I used to be a commodity trader, in particular in raw cotton. So I used to be a cotton trader, and I joined shipping about 13 years ago, mainly because of interest and also family background. Okay. And Herbert Lösing, the owner of Coli, invited me to join his organization as a trainee. So it was a bit of a step for me at 27 to start a new career. But I've not regretted it. And yeah, I've been sort of in project shipping since 13 years, and starting with a bit of chartering, also a bit of ships agency, which I think is important in shipping, to also know how the port works, how the vessels work. And yeah, sort of gained experience over time, and eventually I landed here in this seat.
Okay. May I ask you, Alain, are you, when I see the name Alain, then I always think of a guy coming from France.
Yes, it's a bit, I was actually born in Germany, but grew up in Belgium, and my parents live in Belgium. I went to study in England and then came back to Germany. So okay. A bit of a round tour.
So you are a global citizen, so to speak.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Correct.
Good, Alain. So with 13 years in Coli, and Coli, of course, is a very famous brand name in shipping. Tell us a little bit about the Coli group. I mean, you have shipping, you have chartering, you have agency, you have ship owning. Tell us a bit about the various activities of Coli in 2021, please.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, the core business is basically brokering in the project department. We are a family-owned company. We've been established in 1974, okay. So close to 50 years of experience, and that's been our core business. But of course, we have also some sister companies who operate ships, multi-purpose vessels on the main trade lane between Europe and Asia, and vice versa. And of course, having offices in major cities or port cities, we also do ships agency.
Okay. Where are the offices of Coli located nowadays? I suppose is the headquarters in Hamburg or Bremen at the moment?
That's correct. I mean, you would say the headquarters is Hamburg because Herbert Lösing is based there. Yeah. But Bremen was actually one of the co-founding offices. So been always part of the Coli history, I would say. And we have offices in Europe. We have offices in Hamburg, Bremen, Rotterdam, Antwerp.
Okay. Okay. And overseas?
Overseas, we have office in Singapore. This is mainly sort of for ABB, our sister company, who take vessels on time charter. Okay. We have an office in Japan. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Japan has been the biggest outside Europe office for a number of years.
Okay, interesting. And is that in Singapore? You have the ABB, the Asia Break Bulk Service, I suppose.
Correct. Yes.
And Japan, is that shipbroking or chartering?
No,
or what do they...
both. It's a mixture of both.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's quite impressive to see the reach of the Coli Group when you hear that you are established in all of these places. So that means in Bremen, what is your main work in, let's say, what is your day-to-day job in the Bremen office to develop?
So I have to say, sort of for the last couple of years, we've been very close to the windmill industry. Oh, yeah. I guess a lot of the people have now jumped on this bandwagon, but actually we've been there for a number of years. And for a number of clients, yeah, we do the chartering. I think the approach that we take it from there is that I'm not a big fan of sort of competitive brokering. I see more brokering as an added value for the customer. So of course, when you see the chartering department of the windmill customers, it's rather small, and they cannot have a big outreach to all of the ship owners.
Right.
So I think it's a little bit with their mandate, we go to certain carriers and see if we can find a perfect fit for them.
Okay, and of course, with 50 years of history and the strength of the name of your group, you have good relationships built up over the years. I suppose that works in favor for the Coli Group, doesn't it?
It certainly brings a favor. I mean, of course, there's expertise which we try to sell. I think that's foremost the expertise, but also sometimes bridging a little bit sort of contract differences. I think that's where the added value is, because when you ship within Europe on the coaster business, they don't like the long payment terms of the customers. So I see there a value from us pre-financing the operation. The ship owner, you know, when he only performs a voyage for 3 or 4 days, he doesn't want to wait 40, 60, 90 days for his payment. So I think that's where we fit in. I mean, I wouldn't say that we are a bank, but it's part of the service that we offer. Some of the operators or the coastal operators, let's say, they don't have experience in windmill components, so we prepare the storage plan for them. We prepare the lashing manual for them. Some of them don't even have chains on board because they're not used to carry that type of commodity. So we provided the chains and all the lashing material.
I suppose when the chips are down, you can see who's really experienced and who isn't. And of course, there are many, or not many, there are some hillbillies out there. They promise the moon and then they can't deliver. At least one would know that coming to Coli, you have people who know their business in essence.
Definitely. And also, I have to say, mainly the customers entrust us with their cargo. So it's obviously also our responsibility to ensure that the cargo is shipped in a safe manner and also in a timely manner.
Right.
And sometimes we even have rejected business because we don't think that we have found the right partner to do that business. So we don't do business at all costs. That's never been our objective.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Tell me the role of the shipbroker. As you know yourself, shipping, a lot of things are changing nowadays. You have ship owners, they have a certain amount of ships. They'd rather go direct to the customer. The customer think that their own chartering department can do the job, and they don't want to have any middleman. So standing out as a broker, can you see that the business has changed in the last 13 years? You tried.
Definitely, it has changed a lot. I mean, since I've started, it has changed a lot, because I would say that in the past, a lot of our customers used to be the freight forwarder directly.
Yeah.
But they have also developed and installed the chartering department in-house. So maybe there's no value for them to have a shipbroker in between. And that's why maybe we have also shifted a little bit directly to the customer base. And as I said from the beginning, I mean, I can appreciate when sometimes people are saying that the shipbroker is no use, and there are unfortunately a lot of shipbrokers which bring no value to the table. But I think that's where we try to be a bit different and bring value to the table, and trying to maybe change a bit the shipping plan, offer other alternative solutions. Yeah. Because sometimes the demands from the clients are quite rigid and say, oh, we have to ship in 1 time or in 2 times. But sometimes you go back and say, well, if you ship in 2 or 3 times, you can save money because this vessel type is available, which can do the business, or maybe we switch to a liner service. So it's bringing value to the table, which is the key essence.
Yeah, I understand. I wish to ask you a little bit about Asia. As you know, Asia is the powerhouse of the world and a very exciting region, not only your Japan office, but also your Singapore office with the ABB. What can you tell us about the ABB? And here I'm not talking about ASEA Brown Boveri, the big shipper. I'm talking about your own parcel service. Tell us about ABB. What does your Singapore office do? Because I've seen some of their ship charters here in Europe many times.
Yeah, so basically at the moment we have 3 ships, the famous EF type, who basically operate, I would say, a semi-liner service from Europe to Asia. And then once we reach Asia, we have to turn back, of course. And the jobs of my colleagues is in Asia to find cargo to come back.
Okay. How often you say semi-liner? Would that be once a month sailings out of Europe to Asia?
No, I would say a bit more. I would say 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks sailings.
Yes.
Okay. And your main load ports would be the North Continent ports, Hamburg, Antwerp, Rotterdam, I guess.
I would say so, but at the moment you can't really sort of say that there's a main port. I mean, you basically go where the customers want you to go.
Yeah, that's clear. And of course, COVID-19 is good for shipping, I believe, right?
Strangely enough, yes. I mean, when I speak to my friends outside the industry, I mean, some of them are suffering, but for us, it's rather the opposite. I mean, business has picked up quite a bit. The market has suddenly made a V-form change, which I personally did not expect. I mean, you were always thinking it will change one day, but changing it so rapidly, I don't think anybody could see that.
Yeah, I've seen recently several MPP ships coming out of Asia filled to the brim with containers, no project cargo in sight.
Yes, but I have to say it's easy business, it's good money.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them because, of course, a lot of the project cargo has become a bit more sophisticated.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of lashing needs to be done, a lot of calculation needs to be done. And if you can take for the same money or even more money, easy containers, then I don't blame the ship owners for taking them.
Let's hope that this COVID-19 times are now used to fill up the coffers because there will be, let's say, another day after this, I have no doubt.
For sure. Maybe it will come sooner than later.
So that means sitting in Bremen, I'm sitting up here in Stockholm conducting this interview with you. Let's say I'm a Swedish shipper. It could be ABB even. And I have, let's say, a couple of thousand cubic meters from a Swedish port to Singapore. That means I could ask Coli to find a suitable ship for me at a suitable time, and the ship needs to be here and there under these restrictions that I give you. Then you will find such a ship, right?
I will find such a ships, and sometimes I will also even help the owners because there might be an owner says I'm interested, but I've never been to this Swedish port. Can you find out what the restrictions are, what the liner in costs are? So I also see the value for the ship owner to be in between. I mean, most of them have their operational team and can take themselves charge of it, but sometimes if they're pressed for time, then I'm happy to assist, or we are happy to assist on that.
Oh yeah, so that means in a way you can assist both the project forwarder, you can assist the shipper direct, but also the ship owner who may have a ship in position, but he's not used to, let's say, Scandinavian waters and has never been up here in the north before, for example.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, that's very clear. How many staffs are you in your group? If we start with Bremen and overall.
In Bremen we are 6.
Okay.
And I think globally we are around, I would say, I've not counted to be honest, but I would say around 40 people, 40.
Okay. Yes, of course, I'm quite familiar with Mr. Herbert Drewsen, who's certainly has a long history and is a very good networker. I think that's fair to say.
Well, he's been around a long time, so I think that helps.
Definitely. Is there any news on the breakbulk conferences? I suppose also for this year it has been delayed in Bremen, right?
So Bremen has been cancelled, basically.
I see.
Mainly because of sort of global events, but also secondly that the conference center in Bremen is being used as a vaccination center. So it's basically not available for other functions.
No.
But then again, I can't see at the moment with the current situation in Europe how an event could take place in any case.
No, probably not. May I ask you, just out of interest, when do you expect vaccinations have started in Germany full speed, right?
Full speed. I don't think it's the right word for it. I mean, it has started. I think it has picked up lately, but I think like other European countries, we are lagging behind quite a bit.
Let's call it EU speed.
EU speed, yes. Unfortunately, it's a bit sad because I mean Germany has been a key part in developing a vaccine workable for the whole world. But we ourselves as a nation don't see the benefit of it.
Well, let's see our politicians. Let's not talk politics because then we can sit here for hours.
That's true.
May I ask another interesting question that came to my mind. You say you came from the cotton trade, so that means
Yes.
you were in effect a shipper. You were sitting at the other side of the table.
Partly, yes.
Yes. How has that transit been for you, coming from, let's say, commodities trading to shipping? Of course, they are related, but what is the biggest difference that you feel?
I have to say, I mean, the shipping business is a much more fast industry,
Right.
quicker industry. Every day is different. You need to almost attend every day the business because it never takes a break. Cotton also used to be, I would say, challenging and also exciting every day, but it was a much smaller paced business.
Yeah. No, it's you're right. 24/7 is shipping. That's also what I tell any. First of all, we have to explain to people what do we actually do. I think I think the Suez Canal grounding recently at least has woken people up to understand what is shipping about.
Yes, correct.
So it's quite sad that we need an accident like that to wake up people to understand where their equipment at home or their Samsung TV is coming from, isn't it?
Yes, but unfortunately, a lot of the people relate shipping to only containers. But I have to say that the project sector is much more exciting, and sometimes people cannot appreciate the weight of the commodities we're dealing with, because sometimes when you say you're shipping a transformator of 300 tons, they say 300 tons, but then you say, but you know that the Airbus A380 is actually only weighing 270 tons, and suddenly they realize the dimension of the weight that you are sort of needing to ship from A to B.
It's interesting you mentioned it. As you see in my background picture here, was actually taken in the Halong Bay aboard. I was passenger on board an MPP vessel from Singapore to Houston some years ago, and behind me there are two hydrofoils being shipped by a breakbulk ship from Singapore to Hong Kong.
Okay.
So that's why I chose this picture
that's nice.
to make our viewers understand. But of course, you carry a lot of cargo around the world. How many ships would you say that you charter in a year?
I would say, the Bremen office, because that's sort of where I can relate to. I would say around 50 to 80 ships a year.
Oh, quite a lot. Okay, and how do you find the ships? I mean, let's say I need a ship in the Mediterranean tomorrow. Then would you know who has ships in the Med tomorrow available in the East Med, for example? Do you get sailing list or position lists from the owners? How does it work? How would you know where those ships are?
I mean, mainly we do get position lists from all the carriers.
Okay.
But a lot also happens with talking to them because you might propose them one cargo and then they might say, actually, it doesn't fit me, but my vessel will come open there and there. And okay, I take notes and try to remember as well. And then, of course, when the cargo gets offered, then you particularly target. I mean, also when we receive the demands, I don't like to send out a general order to the market. I like to target, because I also realize that a lot of the ship owners, I mean, the inbox is overflowing a bit also like mine. And you don't like to send particular circulars. I mean, I target specific positions for that.
Yeah, and I can see some brokers in the market. I see the same ship name going again from several different brokers. So there seems to be a lot of layers on each other between the one who really runs the ship and the one who let's say has the cargo. Then there are several in between that offer the same vessel.
Correct, yes.
So I guess one of your main jobs is to keep close relationship to the owners, isn't it? I mean, that they go to you first, right?
Definitely, both. But I have to say that also you realize that the ship owners, you can feel it if they support you, you don't support you. And luckily enough, most of them are supporting us.
Yeah.
And of course, you want to give something back. And they only like to trade mainly in one channel. So you have to make sure that you're the right channel for them to trade with you.
Right. But what regarding trade lanes, I suppose you are a global broker. You don't care much to or from where, but where would you say the majority of your fixtures are taking place? Is it Europe to Asia? Is it intra-Asia, Med to Asia, from Asia, or where would you say percentage-wise?
I would say sort of, I can speak for Coli Bremen. I would say for Coli Bremen, I would say around 20 to 30% is within Europe.
Okay.
Then I count sort of North Continent to the Med and back, and the rest is mainly from Asia to Europe.
That much. Okay.
Yes.
So from Asia, the export powerhouse is really the driver, so to speak.
Definitely.
Okay, very interesting, Alain. Yeah, but it's good. As I said, I'm very, very happy to have this interview with Coli, because you do have a good name, and I know you since I should say many kilos ago for me, or many years ago.
That's gray hair.
That's in China they say if you're round you are rich. At least in the old days they said that. I don't know now, but but I have nothing, let's say, further to ask you, Alain. I think you answered concisely on everything that came to my mind, and I want to say formally many thanks for joining this interview.
You're welcome.
And to all our listeners, viewers, readers around the world, this was yet another great interview, this time with a special guest of honor, Mr. Alain Akavi, the Managing Director of Coli Shipping and Transport in Bremen, Germany. Stay tuned for further interviews in the near future. Thank you.